Welcome back to the channel, everyone. In this week's installment of Retro Movie Review Theater, this week we're going to look back at, in my opinion, the greatest foreign language film ever to grace the theaters of the United States, the German epic Das Boot. Translated, it simply means The Boat. Based on the novel Das Boot and directed by Wolfgang Peterson, this $15 million film tells the tale of the crew of German submarine U-96 during 1941 as it makes its way into the Atlantic in search of Allied ships to sink. This was part of Nazi Germany's unrestricted submarine warfare in response to Britain's blockade. As the film accurately states at the beginning, approximately 40,000 men served as German submariners, and a little more than 30,000 of them died, making it the most dangerous assignment in the Third Reich. Fun fact, when this information was actually projected onto the screen during the film's premiere in Los Angeles, people cheered because, well, technically, these were all Nazis. It must have been a little awkward for the Germans in attendance. But regardless of what you may think, and I for one am no fan of Nazi Germany, this film is still one of the greatest portrayals of war, the toll it takes on an individual psychologically and physically, how it affects a group dynamic, heightened even more by the setting of the film, which takes place 75% of the time within the confines of a German U-boat, no wider than about 6 to 7 feet. Add to that dynamic that the crew of the sub is a mix of veteran sailors and new recruits. The veterans carry a bitterness and a darkness to them that the new recruits do not quite understand because they have not been through the torture of submarine warfare and life under the sea. They are indoctrinated, young, still carrying with them a sense of invulnerability which accompanies youthful men even in times of war. To get all of this observational emotion communicated, the story is told mostly through the perspective of Lieutenant Werner, played by Herbert Grönemeyer, and at times is anchored by the weight of knowledge and instinct delivered by the U-boat captain Heinrich Wilhelm, played by Jurgen Prochnow. The film is marked by what life was truly like for these men during these times. A celebratory send-off of fresh faces, destined to sail into the murky ocean, enduring long stretches of boredom, interrupted by moments of battle when a convoy or a steamer is spotted, haunted by the specter of depth charges raining down through the water as they clumsily try to hit their mark. Even in the most mundane of scenes, there is the element of doom wafting through. Anything can go wrong. A mechanical failure, a fire, being detected by enemy ships, losing pressure and ballast, and the ultimate fate of sinking below crush depth and imploding into nothingness. The constant companion of anxiety and trepidation, staved off by the sheer will of camaraderie and a clinging to hope and faith in luck and strategy, the only goal for these men, to stay alive and ensure the deaths of as many others that have the misfortune to drift past them in calm waters. Das Boot will simply leave you mentally drained and physically exhausted when the end credits roll. Technically, the film to me is perfect, and most of the $15 million budget was spent on creating full-scale replicas of actual German U-boats, including ones that could be put out into the water. And yes, one of them actually broke apart and sank and needed to be recovered and rebuilt. But so well done were these models that Steven Spielberg used one of them for the German sub in the third act of Raiders of the Lost Ark. And director Peterson wanted to capture the claustrophobia of submarine life, choosing to film inside the cramped structures, having special cameras made with gyroscopes on them so he could more easily get the shots he needed with minimal cuts and edits. As well, they shot the film in sequence, so as you see the men growing out their beards, accumulating grime and grease and sweat stains, this is all real, even keeping the cast inside during the months-long shoot so they would appear pale and malnourished, just like real submariners. A combination of full-scale replicas, miniatures, and even a towable small sub, big enough for only one man to be in and steer it a little bit, were used to get the desired effects. And by the way, that smaller version with just one man inside came equipped with a hose he could vomit into as he was dragged through rough waters, and the stuntman inside stated it was like being a rock in a tin can being shaken by a child, and he bounced off the sides constantly. But in the end, of all of Wolfgang Peterson's films, this still might be the greatest of them on his resume. Before Das Boot, he was strictly a German director, directing German films. After Das Boot, we get The Never-Ending Story, Enemy Mine, In the Line of Fire, Outbreak, Air Force One, The Perfect Storm, Troy, and the remake of the Poseidon Adventure. But Das Boot is the complete package. The writing, Directing, cinematography, production value, sound, editing. The film is so close to perfect that it truly is hard to find a flaw. The one flaw most point out being that there is little commentary or criticism about the Nazi philosophy in the script, but that is not what this film is about. Regardless of the ideology, of country, of national pride, this film is about men in war and what humanity is capable of doing to each other and themselves in service to our most violent and base instincts. But was it successful? Well, it didn't exactly make its budget back, but at the time of its release, it was the most successful foreign film in U.S. history. It received 6 Academy Award nominations, more than any other until Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Unfortunately, it was the only film that was nominated for Best Director that year that did not receive a Best Picture nomination. But beyond that, when you watch the film, you sympathize with these men. You cease to care about where they came from. You care about who they are, what they are going through, their lack of control of their own lives and at times deaths. The war is constantly in your periphery, but the characters remain in your center line of sight. And that is why this film, made over 40 years ago, continues to be an example of excellence in cinema and a journey through the delicate but resilient human spirit. And that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Have you seen Das Boot? Do you think it belongs in the list of top 100 films ever made? And what foreign film is your favorite? And if you want more movie reviews, click on the thumbnails at the end of this video for my retro movie review playlist and my general movie review playlist. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. I really thank you for watching. And remember, I am still your reluctant gringo and from south of the border. Salud and a huevo.